Guys, super fast one for you today. Under 20 minutes, I promise. We're going to talk about how to remove logos with 3 different techniques. Grab your tea, your coffee, fizzy water. Let's get going. Okay, so here we are talking about removing logos specifically for stock photography. So as usual, we are in Bridge. And the reason I haven't done these ones is because they've got logos all over them. So I thought this was an interesting shoot to do a moving home. Very authentic, unlike a lot of the stock photos that you might see where people use these crisp brand new boxes. The problem with the moving box companies, bless them, is that they feel some need to put their names all over the boxes, even though it's going inside a storage container. No one's ever going to see it. This is a rant that a stock photographer has because logos on everything drive us bonkers. So what do we have to do here? I have to remove all of these logos. Now, you might be able to do a little bit of this in Lightroom or ACR, which is where we are now. If we get out our heal tool, maybe I could fix this. It's not terrible, but it needs to be tidied up. I really like this healing tool for dust spots and blemishes. I do not like it very much for this type of work where you really do need Photoshop, mostly because I attack logo removal 3 ways. I will either do a heal, a stamp, or just a paintbrush over the top of things. So you could be more methodical and treat this like a clock, and you could start at the top and work around. And the other thing you could do, which I do sometimes, is I might put in, more so for plants and things that have got a lot of blemishes all over them and you've got to do the whole thing and you don't want to get lost, I would put grid lines in. It is a good idea to have a methodical system like that. All right, so we're going to make a new layer. Layer 1. Now, if we're going to be really pedantic and old school, we would name all of our layers so we know what they are. Because I'm only going to have about 5 layers, I'm not going to do this because I'm trying to work fast. This is stock. We're not trying to take 100 hours just to edit this one photo. We want to do this as quickly as possible. But sometimes what I will do is I'll just label it J, because J is the keyboard shortcut for the healing tool. So I've zoomed in here to 300%. Which is a good, every stock agency that's going to check your work will zoom into at least 100, probably 200. So is any of this recognizable for a brand? I don't think so, but this one might be. So we're going to use our healing tool up here, which is the shortcut J. And that's done a great job just of getting rid of that. When you're doing these healings, you want to look out for things that mirror and identical repetitions of things, because that's a telltale sign that you've done a healing. So we're going to just use the space bar and the hand tool just to scroll down. All right, let's get into the big boy, shall we? So I'll start with the easier sections that I know will work. Hello, cat. Oh, you're wet. Get down, you're wet. Ew. Okay, that actually worked better than I thought it was going to. And if we just take it away. So you can still actually see the scuff marks from what I've done. Some of these logos might actually be protected. I've been asked before to take the recycle logo off. Anyway, let's take this off because it's got some stamp of some Australian company on it. I don't think we need to be concerned about it, but I'm going to do it here just to show you what I would do. In this situation here where you can see the scuff marks left behind from my tidy up, we're going to first of all try S for stamp, which is over here, your stamp clone tool. And we are going to clone a bit of the same texture and area and put it over. So I'm pressing Option to choose where to sample from. So I'm sampling from here, and then I'm going to stamp a little bit of it down here. Oh, don't want that. Okay. And then we can just turn that down a little bit until I found a point at which that looks less obvious now at first glance. Now, if you don't like that and you want to, you're in this situation again, I'm just going to repeat. I think for these old scungy boxes, it really doesn't matter that much what we're doing. But let's say we are trying to be a bit more perfect than this, is I will brush on some brown. So we will go to our brush tool, and I've got just my normal brush. We will sample by pressing the option key. We'll sample this color brown. Okay, so just paint the whole thing. We'll do the whole thing actually. So before you do anything else, and the reason I suggest this, oh, we've sampled something because of my cat. The reason I suggest, are you right there? I don't have the video on today, so no one can see you. The reason I suggest you do this first is because I forget to do it all the time, and so just do it straight away. We're going to add a little bit of grain to this because you've just painted on perfectly beautiful, untouched color here, and yet everything else, you can see that there's grain and there's no grain. So you want to add a little bit more grain to this one. I'm actually just going to add a little bit more color here. Filter, noise, add some noise. So it'll actually just be sitting at the amount that you last used. I usually would only add about 0.55. Whatever I add is whatever's easiest for me to type. I do have a full keyboard here. I will never give up my full keyboard with a numeric keypad at the end. So usually the reason I choose 55 or 44 or any of these numbers that I choose is because it's the easiest thing to type for me. It's not that it's a mystical, magical number, but that's the only reason I would choose a number like that. It's just going to add a tiny bit of grain, not too much. Can you even see it? Not really, but we know it's there. If I were to add more, so you could just add noise again and it will add the same amount. Well, let's have a look. If we added 1, hopefully you can see that that's too much because I've been able to see it immediately. And that's why I think the 0.44 was a good amount. Half of that is all that you need. You just need something because otherwise they kind of stand out later on. Okay. So we need to then, of course, tidy that up. So we mask it. Now, there are 2 different ways to mask it. You can either plonk a mask on and then paint away the bits that you don't want, or you can fill the whole thing. I normally do it this way. So I'll hold down Option and press the mask, and I will get a mask filled with black, which covers everything that I've just done. And now I will paint white to reveal the parts that I want to see. Shift plus Delete brings up your fill box that says, do you want to fill this marquee space that you have created with white, black, grey, or something else? So we want to fill it with white because white reveals. Black conceals, white reveals. So we'll say, yes, thank you, white. I'll do Command D to get rid of that. And so what this has done now is revealed all the brown that I had painted on here. And then you would have to go through and with your, say, your brush tool. And again, I put this at 100%. I don't paint this in little bits, just get the whole lot done and then we'll deal with it later. Now this is a lot of work. I normally wouldn't do this much for this kind of project, especially because I know I have to do so many other things. You can see where your mask is, and I pressed the / key on my keyboard here to achieve that. There are other ways to do it, but keyboard shortcuts are the only way to do this in my opinion. Okay, so now we've painted that nice and brown. It actually looks way too polished and crisp here. So the next thing you need to do is remember to click back onto the panel where your paint is, not the mask. We're not working on the mask now, we're going to work on this. I want to put a little bit of shadow and light back into this because we've painted with just a flat brown color really, and it doesn't have any shadow whatsoever. So how do we apply some shadow? Well, there's 2 or 3 different ways you could do that. You could do a levels adjustment, a curves adjustment, or I think I'm just going to do a little dodge and burn over here. So we'll hit the dodge tool, which is O, and then Shift O will cycle through that, and that's going to push me through onto the burn tool. So this will darken just an area that I choose. So the burn tool is a brush, so you're just going to brush it on. Now this is actually destructive editing what we're doing here, because there's no way to undo it or turn it back, except there is. I'll tell you that next time. But so I'm just going to paint on, remembering that it doesn't matter if I go up here with my burn tool, because there's nothing on this layer except for this. All that's on here is the brown, and you can see what I've done by burning that in there a little bit. I might have been a bit heavy-handed with that 42%. It is a magical number though. But you can see now I've just introduced the notion of this shadow that's coming down here. And now it actually looks far more natural. The box actually looks kind of nice and brand new, see that? And looking at it now, a designer could actually put some copy into here and write something if they wanted to. So now you're saying, why did you do all this other bizzo? I could have just painted over the whole thing in brown. That's correct. So that is the other way to get around. There's more than one way to skin a cat, which is a terrible expression. That is the other way to get around these horrible jobs where you have to sit here and do all of that work. I could just paint over this whole thing in a brown color and be done with it, which is what I probably will do for the next one, seeing as I've already done all this work and I quite like the look of it now. So let's do just that. I'm going to call this brown top, and then we'll do a second one. Let's see how fast I can do this, because now we know what we're doing. That's not even in not even doing this in fast forward. I'm just doing this live. Okay, that was not very long. That was way faster to do that like that rather than brown bottom. Haha. Rather than going through all that hoopla of doing a heel and a stamp layer. So hopefully that's given you a way to think laterally differently when you're doing these edits. You don't always have to approach it from the point of view of doing a straight heel. There are other ways to do this. That lent itself to this because it was a square box. So you don't have to completely obliterate everything. What you're trying to do is obscure the logo. So you could, sometimes I just change the logo a little bit and shift the color and make it look different. I might fill it in. So you don't have to completely and utterly change it. There's many different ways to obscure logo. Here's a logo on this bag. Bye-bye. Gone. That's fine. That's fine. I think we're all good. The only thing I was going to do was one more stampy stamp here. Cheers, less than 20 minutes, go me. I did remember halfway through I had a fourth way of doing clone removal, so I'm going to save that for another time. Hope you liked that, and I'll see you next time. Back to work. Bye-bye.